26-year-old Fantasia Martinez has been arrested and charged with multiple offences after crashing a car and abandoning her 6-month-old twins, one that was left stranded in the car and the other one that was left home alone. The crash occurred at around 9:45 p.m. on the 14th of June 2022 at the end of Buckshot Road in Marshall, Texas, just off the Interstate 20. The police received multiple reports of a woman walking in the eastbound lanes of traffic. She was spotted by deputies and appeared to be intoxicated and possibly under the influence of narcotics due to her erratic behaviour. She told them that her car had broken down and that both of her young children were still inside. She was detained for her own safety and her car was located about a mile away from where she was picked up from. The vehicle, which was still running after crashing into a tree, had plowed through multiple road barricades and there was an infant in the back seat. A deputy had to break one of the car windows to rescue the baby. When Fantasia took the opportunity to escape, the deputy had to stop the rescue and go after her. Once she was detained again, Fantasia started asking about a second child. As a second car seat was found in the wreck, he gave the officers reason to believe a second child was missing. The authorities called in extra help from the area, and about 35 minutes later, about 60 responders were on ground searching for the child. During the extensive search, one deputy was treated at the scene for heat exhaustion. Meanwhile, deputies went to an address where Fantasia recently moved to, near where they were searching. They forced their way in and found a second child alone but uninjured. Child Protective Services took custody of both children. Fantasia has been held at the Harrison County Jail on charges of endangering a child, driving while intoxicated, resisting arrest and escape. 44-year-old Tonya Camia has been arrested and charged in connection with the drowning death of her 5-month-old granddaughter, Angel Stanford. The incident occurred at around 8 a.m. on the 6th of August 2021, when the authorities went to a home along Hadley Drive in Clarkson, Tennessee, on reports of an unresponsive baby girl. When officers arrived at the scene, they found the child motionless and not breathing. They tried applying life-saving measures on the child and rushed her to the Tennova Healthcare Hospital, but was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. While questioned, Tonya told the investigators that she took a bath with the baby and fell asleep. An autopsy later determined that the baby's primary cause of death is probable drowning, and a contributory cause of death was from acute meth intoxication, with blood tests reportedly showing meth in Tonya's blood. On the 15th of June 2022, Tonya was charged with first-degree murder in perpetuating a crime for the death of Angel and aggravated abuse, neglect, endangerment of a child under 8 years of age. She's held at the Montgomery County Jail on a $300,000 bond. 22-year-old Jeremiah Jones has been arrested and charged for shooting his ex-girlfriend Brittany Sorrells and killing her 9-year-old daughter Kylie Sorrells. The incident occurred at just before 10 p.m. on the 13th of June 2022, when Brittany was watching a movie in bed with Kylie and her 2 other girls, aged 1 and 7, when Jeremiah showed up at her apartment, located at 404 Oxford Street in Houston, Texas. Brittany had broken up with Jeremiah 2 months ago after 8 months of dating, and he demanded that she give him a television that he thought was his. Jeremiah then ripped the TV off the wall and moved to the living room, where Brittany followed him. Jeremiah then accused her of seeing another man and ordered her to hand over her phone. When she handed him her phone, he learnt that she had been texting someone and immediately walked to the back bedroom where the children were alone and fired 2 shots. He then returned to the living room and forced Brittany to get on the floor and shot her in the shoulder before fleeing the scene in a Chevy Camaro. Brittany rushed back to her children and found Kylie lying on the floor with a gunshot wound to her head. The other 2 children were unharmed. Brittany contacted 911 and she and her daughter were rushed to the local hospital. Brittany was treated and later released, however Kylie was later pronounced dead. The authorities believe that Jeremiah intentionally killed the girl as a revenge attack for the breakup. They said that Jeremiah violated a protection order that Brittany had filed against him. The authorities said that a week prior to the attack, Brittany complained that Jeremiah had threatened to shoot her dead. She also made 4 calls to the police about her ex-boyfriend within the past month. At around 6 p.m. the following day, Jeremiah was tracked down by a SWAT team in a parking lot along the 22,300 block of Imperial Valley Drive, and he was taken into custody at the Harris County Jail. He's charged with capital murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Jeremiah has an extensive criminal history stretching back a decade. The most recent charges including evading arrest, making terroristic threats, and violating the terms of his bond. On the 10th of June 2022, 18-year-old Layla Sapita has been arrested and charged with stabbing her newborn baby to death. The events came to light at around 3:08 a.m. on the 8th of June 2022, when the authorities were called to 625 Lincoln Avenue in Nunn, Colorado, for a death investigation. When first responders arrived, they learnt there had been a childbirth and the baby had possible stab wounds. Layla told the responding medical personnel that she wasn't feeling well and that her family did not know she was pregnant. She said she delivered the baby, who was not breathing, and used a small pair of scissors to cut the umbilical cord before going to the shower. The deputies noticed what appeared to be stab wounds to the torso and chest of the dead newborn. Officers also found a small pair of scissors, which appeared to have dried blood on them. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation was called in to assist in the investigation, and Layla was taken to a local hospital for treatment. While interviewed, Layla said she thought she was pregnant but wasn't sure. She said she had several periods and took a pregnancy test, which came out negative. She explained that she started having really bad cramps and contractions, and said that around 1:30 a.m. she felt like the baby may be ready to come out, and she could feel it crowning. She said that approximately 40 minutes later, she felt like she had to push. She said she stood up, and the baby fell out of her. The baby girl was quiet and not moving, she said. She said the umbilical cord had been ripped, and the baby fell out head first. The baby's face was purple, and she wasn't crying, moving, or breathing. She explained that she then rolled the baby up in a towel and left her covered with a sweater. She went to a closet to get a pair of scissors to cut part of the umbilical cord, and then went to take a shower. Layla denied harming the baby. An autopsy was later performed on the newborn, and determined that she was born alive. It was noted that there was a significant number of puncture wounds to the baby's chest, rib cage, and abdomen. The coroner determined that the baby died of multiple sharp force injuries, and the manner of death to be a homicide. Layla was arrested and is held at the Weld County Jail, and is charged with murder. Jessica Sanders and Natalie Childress have been jailed after children in their care were allegedly hit with metal knuckles. The events came to light at around 12:43 p.m. on the 10th of June 2022, when the authorities responded to a home located at 6583 Cold Creek Road in Pinellas Springs, North Carolina, after receiving an anonymous tip that Natalie had been hitting children in her care with metal knuckles, causing serious injuries. When the authorities made contact with the mother of the children at the home, Jessica Sanders, she responded by saying the kids were not at the residence. Upon completing a search of the house, officers found the children hiding in the home with severe injuries. They were taken to a local hospital for treatment. Natalie was charged with negligent abuse, while Jessica was charged with aiding and abetting the abuse. Both women were booked into the Burke County Jail, with bonds set at $250,000.